All right, welcome again to today's episode of Property Matta. I don't be like say this thing don't they turn to Gbogbo Igba. What's for my Gbogbo Igba? But it's okay. I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying learning about properties, buildings, landscapes, and all of those things from Engineer Debo himself. Today we're here again. My name is Debo, number one bay on top of city. And today we're going to talk about property percentage of completion method of measurement. And I would like to formally introduce and be welcome Engineer Debo to the show. Good morning, sir.
Thank you very much. Good morning. How are you?
I'm fine.
Ebu, that is a B.
Welcome, sir.
How was your long weekend?
It did not affect me because I was working.
I know that's what you say. You have a way of making us feel like we are lazy people.
No, you're not lazy people.
Public holidays, we don't go on public holidays, But then you don't tell us the advantageous part of your own, no?
Which part?
So many. What time do you close, for example? What time do you resume? There are those, every job has its own good side and, difficult side. That's why it's a job. If it's that easy, it won't be a job anymore,
You're correct.
How are you, viewers? I'm sure you enjoyed your Eid al-Fitr. Hope you, I can see some chicks are already coming out. Just how many days? Somebody in the studio now that is standing just opposite me. She was almost disappearing during the fast.
But now her cheeks are
I can see that her cheeks are already out. It is serious.
Very serious.
Just these few days, you don't recover.
Normal level. Because when we are fasting, we tend to shed some weight. Welcome on the show,
viewers at home, thank you very much.
So what's the topic today, Oliver?
Okay, so today we want to talk about property percentage of completion method of measurements. When you do property construction, you hear. So I don't know if you've come across some adverts or some information about property. Somebody wants to sell a property. Maybe because the property is not finished, they want to describe the property to you. They will now say it's at 50% completion stage.
Okay, yes.
You understand?
Yes.
So they are not selling a finished property. They will say it's at 50% completion stage. Or you bought a property off plan. Off plan meaning before they started construction at all. You started paying. And usually for those arrangements, they would have to be giving you reports.
Okay.
Gradually as to how your stuff is going. So you now say, they now give you one report. They will tell you, maybe this month, they will say the property is now at, maybe quarterly report. They say the property is now at 10% completion. Later, it will move 20%, 30%, 40%. People usually wonder, how do they come up about this percentage, And of course, the industry. Some people don't know jack about this percentage. They just come up with any percentage. They just look at the property and say, okay, it's at 50% percentage completion. What is that?
Only for you to invest. I don't see that. No,
so today, I just want to break down and explain how you arrive at percentage measurement of a property under construction. That this is the percentage and all of that. So that's what we'll be talking about today. Interesting. Are you sure?
Yes.
Hope you have your calculator.
I do.
Because I know that for a lot of you, these maths come and you find yourself in
I don't like maths.
In arts and all of that. It's because you ran away from maths class.
I don't like maths.
Maybe your maths teacher is also the Babelegba of the school.
No. Actually not.
Because most schools I hear that the maths teachers are usually the Babelegba.
That's true. It
was
that's why people cannot
like maths.
I don't know, Sha. Me, I just did not like calculations. Was just too heavy for me. Like now, I was trying to learn how to go into what's it called, fashion, dressmaking. Okay. And I realized that they started measuring things. I'm like, when did this one start? No. I'm like, I ran away.
Whoa, can you imagine? Wow. You have people.
Is that bad?
These hard people, Sha, it's like that for most hard people. But the funniest thing with me is how would I say it now? As spontaneous as I am, as restless as I am, for my mind to be somewhere, I have to really focus. Do you understand? I lose my strain of thoughts easily, and I get distracted easily. As bad as it is for me, maths was my best subject.
Probably because it keeps your... Actually, maths
I think it has a way of helping me
Yes.
to be concentrated.
Yes,
Because
keep your
when you say
concentration.
5 times something, 25 times 5, you now want to do it 25 times 5, say 5 times 5, you do
Bracket
5,
before.
then you take 2 out.
Hi,
Then
that
I
one.
think that process keeps
Yes.
me, and it's been my
Yes.
best subject forever.
Amazing.
It's been my best subject forever.
Why would
But
they math is
no,
their
no,
best,
no,
or
no.
you're like,
Been
area.
it's been funny enough. My children don't like maths, so I don't know
Oh.
how I could not instill the love of maths in them. But I think it was because there is one Babelegba somewhere, whether in their primary school or something. They just didn't like maths. They just grew up not liking maths. I don't know.
It happens to some people.
Oh God, oh God. So today, we'll be talking about completion, and to start with, we'll be talking about 3 methods.
Okay.
There are 3 methods by which you can come about percentages, okay, in terms of a project, a construction project going on. There is one method we call cost to cost, okay, cost to cost method of completion measurement. That's one method. There is effort to effort method, okay, of completion measurement, and there is unit of delivery method. Those are the 3 methods: cost to cost, effort to efforts, unit of delivery method.
Okay.
Now, cost to cost is about the most common, and you use it when you can easily determine what you have spent
Yeah.
versus what you are to spend to complete
Eventually.
the project.
Yeah.
What you have spent so far versus what you are to spend to complete the project. So, people would have problem coming up with the percentage completion with this method if ab initio they didn't even have an idea of what they should have spent,
Yeah.
and they didn't keep the record of what they've spent. People who build by themselves. Sometimes they just build. They are not keeping record. They just say, I don't want to put my mind to it, so that my heart will not be palpitating that, hey, all these thousands of naira, millions of naira are just going. I just want to be, once I have the money, I want to put it on it, because I know that when I finish, I'll be able to sell it. But when you finish, if you don't have an idea of how much you've spent on a project, how will you easily be able to price it and make good returns from it? So that way, if you are doing that in your real estate investment or real estate business, you may be leaving some money on the table. Okay, so to use this cost to cost method, we advise that you get the estimated cost of your project ab initio, from the get-go. Get the estimated cost. So if a house, for example, is going to cost, Olododo say I always mention big money. So let's use small money. But if I use small money that is impracticable, I don't know how it will help you.
Practical amount.
So let's say, let's say 25 million. Okay, no, let's use a simpler figure. Let's say 20 million.
Okay.
Right? So if it's going to cost you 20 million to finish a building, from your estimation, and at a stage you have spent 4 million on that project, your completion method, if you are using cost to cost, your completion percentage, if you are using cost to cost, is what? Let me put you on the spot on worldwide TV. You have okay, don't worry, let me forgive you, because you've openly confessed before we even started that maths is not your
I'm already rolling my eyes.
I want to give you a headache this morning, this cold weather. You are sweating. You want to start sweating already.
Just tell us.
Okay, so it's just going to be 4 million that you've spent so far over the 20 million that you are to spend if you complete it. Times 100.
Spent so far.
Yeah, times 100. That will be the percentage completion, which will be how much? You want us to do the math? 4. Okay, so 2 out of 4, 2 times. 2 out of 20, 10 times. 2 out of 2, 1 time. 2 out of 20, 2 out of 10, how many times? 5 times. So 1 over 5 times 100, that's 20%. Okay? 1 over 5 times 100, that's 20%. So that means that you have done 20% completion of that project.
Okay.
So if they say, how far are you with this project? We are at 20% completion rate.
Interesting. Well, still they learn from engineer Debo on top property percentage of completion method of measurement. You know, how you go fit take know how many percent a particular building don't go. So you go fit know how to cost them and all of those kinds of things. If person won't buy building, we still they in progress, like when they still they construct lower, for example. How you go fit take 30%, okay, that is 20% gone or 30% gone or 50% completed or 100% completed, how to get those measurements and not just getting them, but getting them accurately. All right, so we did on a particular point of cost to cost method, you know, doing your costing of the building and knowing, you know, how far you have gone with the percentage of the building. So I hope that I've been able to understand to a good extent everything that Engineer Debo is teaching us today. So we are still on the show and we'll continue hearing from him.
I think we had done that example of 20%, right? How to, if you've spent 4 million on a 20 million project,
Yes.
that means you are at 20% completion stage,
Yes.
okay, of that project. So that is cost to cost method. The other method is called effort to effort.
Effort to effort?
Yes, effort expended, you know.
Yes.
Effort expended or effort to effort expended, more or less method.
Yes.
Now, what is effort expended about? Effort expended is if you can quantify what it will take you. Do you understand? The effort you have to expend on a project to complete it, and you can measure what you have done so far.
Yes.
Do you understand? Putting them against each other, you'll be able to get your completion rate, because sometimes it may not be about costs literally. It may not just be something you can easily say this and this and this and this and this whatever, you understand, but it could be about effort. Say for example, if something is not I'm looking at in the construction space, let's say you are a project manager.
Yes.
You understand? Or you are a, what other thing is there that you render service in one way or the other? Maybe you are a facility manager. You understand? Or you are a construction site manager. You know, some of those things you really cannot say this is how much. Maybe what you have to do is, for example, how many hours will the project consume? Do you understand? How many hours will I need to put into this project?
Yeah.
If I'm supposed to be charged, let's assume that, okay, look at it. If you take a bulldozer to site in Nigeria, typically, to clear, the standard practice within heavy equipment hiring is that a day is 8 hours, right? So when they charge you for a day, you expect that that machine will be on and working for 8 hours before that day is complete.
Okay.
If that machine breaks down or something happens after 4 hours of work and the next day, guess what? It has not become another day.
Yeah.
They will have to complete the remaining 4 hours that next day before they can charge for another day. That's an example of effort. So they need to put in 8 hours of work. You understand?
Yeah.
So in the case where they've put in just 4 hours, it means that they've only completed that task by what? 50%. So if you are going to pay that person, for example, that day off, and you are going to pay them according to the effort they have put in, you just pay them 50% of what you've agreed. Or let's say you've paid them ab initio, because that's what happens most of the time. You pay them upfront. Yeah. It means that they are owing you 50% of what you've paid them until they deliver that. Do you understand? So that's effort method.
Effort to effort.
Yes, effort to effort or effort expended. Okay. So you measure what you have expended over what you are to expend totally to bring the project to completion, or to say that you are fully satisfied the terms of your engagement or contract.
Interesting. So it's not just monetary. The person's sweat and, you know.
Yes, depending on the services, because there are some tasks in construction, okay, or some projects that are not, or some, or disciplines on site that are not necessarily, you can't measure them easily by cost. You know when you say cost to cost, that is easy method for a contractor to be paid. Yeah. Easy method for a construction firm to be paid. You know, easy method to tell a buyer how the property is progressing. Easy method for the company to be able to do the accounting and know what to recognize, what not to recognize. But you see, to some other people involved in that project, cost to cost does not cut it for them.
Yes.
Does not really. Maybe their tax is so tiny and so defined and clear, such that, and it does not involve physical things. It's service. It's intangible. You understand? It is effort.
How about those people that probably carry blocks from place to place or fetch water from place to place? Not as if probably they are not the ones selling the block, but they're just moving it. Like,
yeah.
those people
So
that carry
you see, labors a lot of times are paid based on efforts. You understand?
Yeah.
Effort expended, labor. For example, a bricklayer can charge you either per day or per number of blocks, or both.
Yeah.
Meaning that when he says per day, if you know what you are doing, what you should be asking him is, okay, how many block laying makes a day work?
Okay.
You understand? Because when you know how many blocks laying makes a day work, then you pay the per day rate. You know how many blocks he must lay. If he did not lay up to that, he's owing you.
Yeah.
He has not finished for that day. That's effort expended.
Yeah.
You understand? Painters, they can say, okay, I will paint. They can charge for painting the area, square meter. You understand? Okay, they say, okay, this square meter that we will paint, the surface we will paint is like 300 square meters. Okay, this is how much we are charging, maybe per square meter of the paint that we are. So that's effort.
Yeah.
You understand?
So don't take two out of these methods when we use take, know how to really cost our building and to know how many percentage, a particular building don't go, like a particular building process don't go, in case person won't buy or you won't buy building and then they say it's okay, it's completed 50% or 100%. Or for you, when we say you even want to sell, how do you measure to know the exact percentage that your building has gone and then be able to properly, put a price on what you're doing? Cost to cost method, we don't discuss that one. Then we did on effort to efforts method. It remain one where we hear from Engineer Debo, because in himself still they here, of course, now in they teach us all these things today.
Thank you very much. So we've talked about effort expended method.
Yes.
And like Ebube said, it's not just for the buyer side. Also for even the seller, the company, for the accounting process, for monitoring things on site and record keeping and all of that. It's very useful to know all of these methods, okay?
Yeah.
So the third method that we'll discuss today, the final one we'll discuss today, is unit of delivery method. Unit of delivery method. And that speaks to, so if you have a large project that consists of multiple units, okay, and you are then saying maybe multiple uniform units. So let's say that you are to build a block of 2-bedroom flats. Let's say you have to build 10 in a place, okay? And by the time you've done, and you are doing it one after the other, not that you are doing them at the same, your construction method is that you want to complete one before you move to the other. By the time you finished one, you understand, out of 10, it's clear that if you want to measure your completion method on that project, is 1 all over 10%. So that's 10%. When you finish 2, that's 2%. Okay, 2%. You understand? When you finish 3, that's 3%. So that is a unit of delivery method. Okay. It talks about how many units you've delivered versus how many units you are supposed to deliver. Okay. So people use this method a lot to describe projects and sites that have uniformity in terms of what they are to provide there, and they are phased. They are in phases. So because you want to do a large number of a housing project, maybe 3-bedroom bungalow, 1,000 on a site. By the time you do 100, the first 100, you can say, okay, our site now is at 100 to 1,000 percentage completion, which is 10%. You understand? You can, by the time you do 200, you can say our site now is at 20% completion stage. That's the project. By the time you do 3, like that. So because so all of these methods have where and how you can better use them, depending on the peculiarities of your site. Okay. So what happens invariably really is that for your project, if you cannot use if you cannot use units of delivery method, right, you should be able to use effort expended method. Or worst case, you should be able to use cost to cost method. So
yes.
you should be able to find at least one of these methods,
yes.
you understand,
Yes.
that you can use to measure your projects. And like I said earlier, measurement is not just for the buyer, it's also for the seller.
Yes.
It's for record keeping, it's for accounts, it's for site record keeping, it's for account record keeping, it's for communication and understanding in the market. So that when I say 50% completion, you have it clear in your mind, especially when you now know the method I'm even using. If it is cost, you know that, okay, if the project is supposed to cost 100 million, it means I've spent 50 million on it. If you are to also sell that project, you know how much you are to expect.
Make, yes.
You know, 50% of your selling price. Once you get that, you know you are at least good. So, that is it.